Hi, my name is Jim McCann with Shopsmith. I'm going to turn these blocks of wood into 3 bud vases for wedding gifts for a daughter of a friend of mine. Um, these are ash. I've taken them out of firewood. This one especially is not perfect. I don't want them perfect. They've got some wormholes in it. It just adds to the character. This is recycled. Like I said, out of firewood. It's been drying in my shop for 10 years or so. I have cut these into square blocks and then cut them into 8-sided blocks, cut off the corners. It's very easy to find the octagon. You just draw a circle on the end of the board and then use your combination square wherever the circle meets the diagonal. You can draw a line, and that's how you set up your saw for the octagon. So I'm going to start with the worst one of the bunch, this medium one. I've got tall, medium, and short. And I may have 2 mediums when I get said and done. I'm using the screw center on the back to drive the workpiece. You see it's on very tight. One of the critical things is to make this end as perfectly square as you can get it, because if this gets off angle a little bit, this is going to just wobble like crazy. But this is the screw center. I've got 4 of them here just for quick change. Look like that. The live center here has a ball bearing in the center here so it doesn't burn. Now I've made this center mark using the solid cup center. You don't want to pound on the screw center to make that mark because it'll ruin the bearing on the live center. So tighten that up real good. Allen wrenches work for a lot. And then I'll secure the set screw, give it a little wiggle as I tighten. This 2 set screws always line up. I'm going to extend this to hit the live center, and that makes it rigid on both sides. I'm going to start pretty slow because I'm rounding, I'm taking the corners off. If this were square, you'd be taking off a lot more meat and it would chip and break, and it's always safest to cut it into an octagon. I'm going to use this 1-inch gouge for most of what I'm doing in shaping this. I need to know where this is going to neck down to be. Later on, I'm going to use this 3/4 inch drill bit, brad point, and this goes on the tailstock chuck arbor. The tailstock chuck arbor looks like this before I put the chuck on it. So we'll be using that later. The advantage of having multiple screw centers is I don't have to keep changing the block back and forth when I change the different operations, go from turning to drilling. So I'm going to start, this is just free form turning, so I don't have a pattern, I'm just winging it. I'm going to make all 3 of them a similar shape, but they won't be exactly the same. That's a little slow. That's about 1,000 RPM. You can hear the sound of the cutting change. It goes from clunking to hissing when I go from cutting off the corners to cutting the cylinder. Hear the difference? Okay, I've gotten rid of that part that was missing. You can still see some of these wormholes. That'll be interesting, a little bit of staining from the minerals pulled up by the tree. Try and make it a nice graceful shape. Now let's check the size of the neck. I've not made that too small yet, so that's good. It's a good thing. You can cut off more, but you can't put on more. Looks pretty good. I'm going to give it a little quick rough sand here. Get the tool rest out of the way. And give this a little sanding. Now, just for interest's sake, I've got one piece folded in half. It's a cloth back material, aluminum oxide abrasive. Because it's pretty thick, I'm able to push hard, get a lot of work done without burning up my hands. A lot of times, I'll take a quarter sheet of sandpaper, fold it in thirds, and that's my sanding. I can get into corners, into details. It's 3 layers thick, so it doesn't burn up my hands. Tip of the day. Now that I got that rough shape in mind, I'm going to make 3 more. One a little bit taller, one a little bit smaller. And that's the beauty of having multiple screw centers. I'm going to put the small one on next. I like to, as I tighten it, I give it a wiggle, make sure I find the bottom of the flat. Extend this. I want to adjust my tool rest before Again, I'm just rounding it down and free-forming the shape. Still have some flats left on that, it sounds like. Yeah, just 1 or 2 little flats right here. If I put my tool down on a smooth surface, it doesn't bounce. If there are flats there, you can hear them bouncing and rattling. That may just be, yeah, that's just the wormhole I'm cutting through. Add interest. Hello. Get rid of that now. That's half the fun of freeform. If you make a mistake, you just cut it out. Go back to the sanding. Look at how those wormholes make a pattern around there. That's going to be neat. When I put a finish on it, those will just pop right out. One and two. Now for the long one, take this one off and put on the long one. Got to move my headstock. Now all I have to do on this one is stretch that pattern out. I'll probably still leave the bulbous bottom and make a longer, more graceful neck. He says in the planning stages. Bounces. And when it gets rounder, it doesn't bounce anymore. Still larger. Well, there's some more wormholes. But that will match the other wormholes. As I can see back here on this side where the shadow is, a straight line when everything is smooth and true. There's all three just for the fun of it. I just took the mask off. I'm done sanding for now. We'll be doing drilling next. Need to take the live center out. And I've already installed the 3/4 inch drill bit in the chuck and the chuck onto the tailstock chuck arbor. And that Morris taper fits right in there. Lock everything down. Move my headstock apart a little bit farther away. Now this wood I'm working with is ash. It's very nice and white. It finishes up nicely. It polishes very nicely. I think when I get this all polished, we're going to see a figure, a ripply, curly figure in this. I could see it in the split wood, and I know it's going to be pretty nice. Okay, so I'm starting with the short one first. I want to drill in 3 inches deep. That'll take me to this point. I know my screw center only goes in 3/4 of an inch, so that goes to that point. So we're going to miss the screw center. Don't want to ruin the brad point. Set my depth stop to 3 inches. That way I can't go any deeper than that, even if I wanted to. The tailstock chuck arbor with the drill chuck and stationary drill bit messes with people's minds. they're so used to seeing the drill bit spin that this is just backwards. The wood is spinning and the drill bit is stationary. I think that works just as well. Everything is still on the lathe here. You don't have to drill it in the drill press. This is a great setup. I'm going to go to drilling, 1/2 to 1 inch size, brad point, hardwood. It says 800 RPM should be ideal. It's set at exactly to 800 RPM. And now I feed the clear chips. I'm going to move my handle around to a more convenient location. That was 1 inch deep. Now I'm 2 inches deep. Half inch to go. And there we are at 2 inches deep, or 3 inches deep. Now that drill bit is a little bit warm. Yes, it is. Because I've got the different screw centers, I'll just take this one off. See, I'm not done with that yet. Even though this one is much taller, I'm still only going to drill in 3 inches because that's about as much as I got for drill bit. I want to touch, but I'm not so hot that I haven't damaged the tips on the drill bit. They're not turning purple or blue, so that's not overheated at all. That's the right speed for the right job. Now, back to a little bit of lathe turning. I don't like this flat top, so I'm going to do something about it. I want to scrape the inside or use a scraping tool on the inside. I got chips in my stop ring. The scraping tool likes to cut right on center, so I'm lowering the tool rest from the shearing cutting height above center to the scraping height on center. The chisel is on center. The round nose scraping tool likes to cut right on center. And what I'm going to do is bevel this down a little bit into the hole so it looks more natural. The scraping chisel has a 80-degree bevel on the back, so it's almost square. And so that is a good scraping angle, but the chisel needs to stay horizontal and cut right on center. I want to speed it up to back to 1,000 where I was turning. And we'll just ease this into the center. That chattering tells me I think I need to lower it some more. And my set screw didn't get real tight. This is an open grain wood, ash is. And so if there's any wood that's going to catch on the chisel, that's an open grain wood. So ash isn't as bad as like red oak with those large pores, but a little bit of extra speed will help prevent that from happening. So it's probably a little fast. That's about 1,200 RPM. And all I'm doing here is just rounding the inside opening to kind of make a bowl shape out of it. That'll be a lot more pleasing to the eye. see how that looks. Put a little sandpaper to it. Here I need the flexibility of a single sheet to get in that hole. Just a little bit, just takes a minute to turn that inside shape. Now we'll just repeat on the other ones. Just how much better that rounded entrance looks. Now that looks even better than the first one because it's a little bit more gradual down in there. So the beauty of having multiple screw centers, I can put the other one back on right now and fix it. Removing the screw center, putting it on the other block of wood, you always run a chance of it being a little bit off center. So it never goes back on exactly the same as it came off. It's well worth the investment in the tools. And next time you go to make Christmas gifts for the whole family, you'll appreciate having multiple screw centers. Now this last one, if there's going to be one that's a problem, it's going to be this last one because it's so much longer than the rest. Vibration may be a problem. I've got the lathe all set up down at one end so that everything's going to be as rigid as possible. That's vibrating just a little bit. We'll just take it nice and easy. By lowering the handle like I have, I'm raising the cutting edge and it seems to cut down on the vibration. There's a nice little bell mouth. It kind of looks like a trumpet on the inside. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Got rid of all my pencil marks. So now all that's left is the final sanding on all of these. There they are, roughed out. Tall, medium, and short. I'm going to leave them on the screw center. Got the rest of the sanding to do. That's boring. You all know how to sand. And I'll put a finish on it.